All right, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for taking time out of your schedules to participate in our ABLE annual or quarterly meeting. Sorry, I was going on my A's there a little too fast. So with that, I know Chris was able to get the minutes out just a little bit before this meeting started. So I'll give you just an extra little bit of time to review them. But do need a motion to approve. And Rhodes, you are able to second and make motions as needed.
And barring any discussion, this is Joe. I move to accept the minutes or approve the minutes as presented.
All right, I've got a motion. Do I have a second? I will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you all. And I'm going to turn it over to Fran for the director's report.
Great, thank you, Grant. Just a few things to highlight here. Chris and I had, in fact, it was my first in-person presentation since I started this job over 2 years ago. So that was fun. We were invited to come present to a group. In fact, it was our second time to kind of meet with these folks, but Independent Case Management, ICM, and it was about 30 of their managers and administrators. So it was kind of like a day-long workshop for them. And so we were able to kind of carve out 30 minutes of their time and in some cases tell them for the first time about the ABLE plan, but in some cases it was answering questions or misconceptions that they had about the ABLE plan. So I think, Chris, you'll agree. I mean, it was a very encouraging meeting. This is a group, it's a nonprofit, but they work with about 300 families around the state to provide home and community-based support to individuals with disabilities. And in fact, as we were leaving, the person that Chris had coordinated all this with indicated that they might want us to come back and present again, but this time to the client services managers, so the real frontline people that interface with families. So that was really nice. It was good to just kind of be one-on-one with folks in person. And it was also kind of a good trial run because in September, Chris and I will be traveling. We've been invited by the regional Head Start program to present at their conference. And we just got a list. There are about 300 people registered for that. So we're going to go there to talk about the ABLE plan in Jonesboro. And then also we have quite a few things coming up in September and October, and these will be in person. We're going to be promoting the ABLE plan at the State Employee Benefits Fair at the Capitol Rotunda in September. Chris has been invited to be a co-presenter at the ARC of River Valley in Fort Smith, alongside people who offer third-party trusts. It was some attorneys, actually, right, Chris, that reached out to you to come present alongside them?
Yes, they specialize in special needs trust.
Great. Then in October, we're going to have a booth or a table at a magic show that's being held at UCA's campus, on UCA's campus, and it's for people developmentally disabled children. So this is kind of the magician is kind of well known, I think, in the region and the nation. So I think he was a big draw last year. Then in October, I'll be attending a national meeting in Florida, and then for ABLE, and then October 22nd, Chris and Thomas from our office will be manning a table at an Arkansas Down Syndrome Association fair. So kind of got a lot of activity, which is wonderful for September and October. Any questions?
Hey, this is Joe. No questions, but it's good to hear that. It reminded me that it's been two or more years since we've had some in-person training, at least for ARS counselors who do provide services directly to clients that are seeking employment or need independent living services. And so I'll try to get with you at some point to see what your schedule's looking like, to see if maybe we can set up something like that in and around all the other things that you have going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'd love it. We'd love it.
Yeah, that is something that's sorely needed. We've had so much turnover now that, you know, the level of knowledge about the ABLE program is low, and I need to get it back up, because they're sitting right in front of these folks that are going to be earning paychecks and need to know how to protect those earnings. Well,
and that's exactly, we talked quite a bit about the able to work aspect of the plan. So Joe, Chris and I will get with you and start looking at calendars. And if you need us to come back more than once, obviously, you know, we can do that. So yes.
That absolutely would help me. And do you have a list of the events that you'll be attending? Is that exist somewhere? Where you'll be around the state at these various booths?
It exists on my notes.
Okay.
We'll send it to you.
Put you on the spot. Only reason I'm asking is if any of them are open, you know, I could shoot a couple counselors over just to hear the pitch or hear the, you know, get the information.
Oh, I see what
while
you're saying.
You guys are out there. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, not, you know, if it's open and if it's available, I'd like to try to at least participate by attending.
So, Fran, if you'll just get in the habit, maybe like towards the end of a month or right at the start of a month, just shoot the committee kind of the calendar of events and where you'll be representing, and you know, just kind of notate, hey, this is open or closed or whatever.
That would be awesome.
Okay. Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Thanks, y'all. That would really be helpful for me.
All right. Any other questions,
comments? No, just one last thing. I want to remind everybody that October, not to add on to the events that are happening, but October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We're putting together potentially a program at the Capitol, but we're still trying to see if they're open to those kind of events. But we'll have something, so more to follow from us as well, sometime during the month of October.
Hey, Joe, any kind of communication, social media, or anything that you're, let's connect your communications folks with Stacy and just making sure that we're all, you know, coordinating messaging, sharing stuff, tagging stuff, and all of that.
Absolutely. Chip McAfee is our communications director, and we have Zoe Calkins at the Division of Workforce Services. So I'll get both of those names over to you all, and I want to leverage what you're doing, and y'all do the same for us.
And Rose, that would go for DC. That would go for Alicia and DCFS, obviously, as well. So.
Okay. Yeah, we can get all of them talking.
I'm sorry, can I jump in for 1 second? I'm taking some notes for Christy. Who is on the phone? Joe from where?
I'm sorry, Joe Baxter. I'm the Commissioner of Rehab Services.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, Dave, we will turn it over to you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Grant. Share my screen. So can you guys see that okay? Let me see if I can actually put this on too. See if I can expand that a little bit. Is that better?
Perfect.
All right. Okay, so let's just go down. So the one thing I always keep pointing out, Grant, is that this looks a lot different than 529. You're not seeing the ups and downs. Thank goodness, right? That one stresses me out. But I did want to point out that you ended July with 3.46 million, and that's a nice little uptick that we're seeing right there. When we look at the assets by investment option, moderate, for whatever reason, moderate allocation in this plan, 3 times what the average is for the alliance. So we don't really understand that at this point, but I do want to keep pointing that out, that the account owners here are choosing moderate over anything else. And when we look at inflows by month, there's a slight upward trend. I did want to say that July was an outstanding month, so we really look good for this past month, but it is causing a nice upward trend there for the year. And then contributions by type. It's interesting, it looks like half the contributions are coming in old school way with physical checks, and half of them are coming in electronically through EBT. So it's a nice little split there between the account owners and how they send in their contributions. And then we look at distributions by month. The only thing I wanted to say here was that for whatever reason, July, this past July, was significantly lower than the distributions from the previous year in July. I don't know, why July of 2021 stands out so much, but it is, it's interesting to see that that this year it's back down to kind of in the range. And distributions by type. We had a question, I guess, a couple of board meetings ago about how people are using their card, and we keep seeing withdrawal at the bank is leading the way at 55%. But this is really card transactions, right? People are using their card to make to pay for goods and services as they utilize the plan. So it's no surprise that that's why withdrawal at bank leads everything else. And then distributions by age group. There's not a real, there's not much to say here. It's just all over the board, and this stays fairly, stagnant. It doesn't really change from board meeting to board meeting. New accounts. I do want to point out that June and July exceeded 2021. That's some nice growth, and at the end there's a slide that asks about where did you hear from? Where did you hear about the plan? It does seem like organization, and we're assuming DCFS is kind of leading the way there on getting the word out. This is accounts by disability type. This is really more of information for you to rely back on. I don't have any comments here, or on this slide here, it talks about the eligibility and custodial type of accounts. Account closures. As we were getting ready for this board meeting over the last 2 days, this deck is prepared by another team member. We looked at the data. Actually, Chris questioned the data on the March withdrawals from earlier this year. We think that there is an issue with this data. So we're going to relook at this account closures by month, and we'll circulate. If we do find that there's something needs to be updated, we'll circulate this. So I'm going to skip the comments on the closures on this particular slide. And as I mentioned earlier, really the last slide here is where did you hear? How did you hear about the plan? And right now, it does look like the organization and other are the top 2 options that chosen by the account owner as they apply and fill out the application. So that's mine. Are there any questions on this? I'll stop sharing.
Dave, does organization refer to like for example, the group we mentioned, we talked to ICM, or is that
would certainly fall under organization? Yes, organization is really any organization, and I refer back to DCFS as an organization,
Sure.
But they could be any of the organizations out there that support this group of people.
Hey, Fran,
Yeah,
I've noticed as well, that's kind of subject to, who's completing the survey as well. They may accidentally mark you or I as a representative from an organization as opposed to a more appropriate option on the survey.
That's true. That's true. And a lot of folks, even with 529 plans, we ask the same question: how did you hear? And we get some answers sometimes that for things. I've seen in plans that don't run any television commercials, have TV commercials be the top choice.
Yeah. Understood.
Any other Yeah, any other questions or comments? The only thing I want to add, and I know Dave kind of touched on it, but I really want to highlight two slides. To get a $400,000 growth in this market over the first 6 months of this year is just unheard of. I mean, you have to just really give kudos to the underlying performance and the assets that are making up these plans. I mean, that's just tremendous to see that upward trajectory when we have been at historical lows within the market. So that's very encouraging. And then the beneficiary age, I'm trying to find that chart real quick. And to see just the disbursement
Mhm.
across the age sectors really tells me that we're creating for this program a very healthy demographic that is investing and working and utilizing this program. I would be concerned if we were barbelled one end or the other or something like that, but to see that healthy distribution across all age brackets is very encouraging for the sustainability and viability of the program. And again, just goes back to, I think, hitting the right sectors within this population, talking to the right people, and not getting ourselves pigeonholed in one particular end of this group as opposed to another. I think, I give kudos to Fran and Chris for really taking a very broad approach when they're working with the disability community. I'm very pleased to kind of see that, and you're starting to see the fruits of that in raw data. And Dave, just continued kudos to y'all's team for the data that we're getting out of these accounts now, and hopefully, more as we get more participants.
Absolutely.
Any other comments, questions?
Well, I think we'll see as rep payees, as more and more people, join the program or join the plan through that pathway. I mean, Chris, didn't you we were able to determine that one place in Conway was responsible for 12 new accounts that opened last month. And so I just think we're going to start seeing some jumps as organizations start utilizing the rep payee system. That's all I was going to say.
Cool. All right. The only new business that I know of would be setting our next date. Fran, I think you had a few options for us to consider. Nobody has to answer now, but if there's a major objection, kind of let us know. So that we can kind of go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday, November 29th or Wednesday, the 30th. And the other thing, and I forgot to mention this at our meeting this morning, but our Joe and Rose, are you all okay using, instead of Zoom, Microsoft Teams? Do you all utilize those as well?
We do, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Joe, what
Teams
about
works
you?
for me. Yeah, I was gonna say Teams works for me, but I also like to have that dial-in option on Teams. Some of those Teams events don't have that option, but
Okay.
yes, I can use either one, Zoom or Teams. Not familiar with the other one.
All right.
And give me that date again,
Pardon me?
November 29th.
Yeah, Tuesday, November 29th or Wednesday, November 30th, and it would be about the same time, 1 o'clock.
Okay, good. Yeah, both of those are clear for me.
Great.
All right. With that, seeing no other new business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I will make the motion to adjourn and we will call us adjourned. And again, thank you all for your time. We will circle back and get the next meeting date on your calendars as soon as we kind of firm all the details around that up. If there's something that comes up in the meantime, feel free to reach out to Fran or Chris. And with that, we are done for the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Hey, I
you.
appreciate y'all.
Joe will follow up with you.
Yes, absolutely. I do want to